If you have parents, especially ones who live far away, give them a call. Hello everyone, and welcome back to One Last Page. Today, we're going to talk about something that touches many families. A story that might feel familiar to some of you. It's about sacrifice, love, and the quiet loneliness that can creep in when families are separated by distance. This is the story of Mrs. Eleanor Vance. For over 40 years, Eleanor's life was a whirlwind of activity. She and her late husband Robert had poured every ounce of their energy, every penny they saved, into their two children, Michael and Sarah. They weren't wealthy, but they were rich in dreams for their kids. They believed that education was the key to a better life, a life without the struggles they had faced. So, they sacrificed. Vacations were a luxury they happily gave up. New clothes were bought for the kids, while their own were mended and worn for years. Robert worked double shifts at the factory, his hands rough and tired, while Eleanor took on extra sewing jobs at night, her fingers nimble but sore. Their small home was filled with the sounds of a busy family. Eleanor was the heart of the home, the constant presence, the one who knew just how to soothe a scraped knee or a bruised ego. Her calendar was a tapestry of her children's lives, and their sacrifices paid off. Michael became a brilliant engineer, and Sarah, a talented graphic designer. They both earned scholarships to prestigious universities, and Eleanor and Robert's hearts swelled with a pride so immense it felt like it could burst. They had done it. They had given their children wings. The first goodbyes were tearful but full of hope. Michael got a job offer in Canada, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A year later, Sarah followed her own dream to Australia. The nest was suddenly, shockingly, empty. At first, the calls were frequent. Daily video chats bridged the thousands of miles. But as months turned into years, the calls became less frequent. Daily chats turned into weekly check-ins, then bi-weekly, then a quick text message here and there. "Sorry, Mom, swamped at work," Michael would say. "Just exhausted, Mom. Let's talk next week," Sarah would promise. After Robert passed away from a sudden heart attack, the silence in the house became deafening. The home that was once filled with so much life now felt like a hollow museum of memories. Eleanor would walk through the rooms, her hand tracing the height marks etched on a door frame, a faint smile touching her lips as she remembered a younger, smaller Michael standing there. She'd sit in Sarah's old room, the scent of her daughter's favorite perfume still lingering faintly in the air. Her life became a quiet routine. She tended to her small garden, volunteered at the local library twice a week, and talked to Robert's photograph on the mantelpiece. They'd ask, "How are you, Mom?" And she would always reply, "I'm fine, dear. Don't you worry about me." How could she explain the crushing weight of loneliness? How could she tell them that fine meant she hadn't had a meaningful conversation with anyone all week? That she sometimes ate her dinner standing over the sink because setting a table for one felt too sad? She didn't want them to feel guilty. Their happiness was still her priority. So she kept her pain to herself, a secret tucked away behind a cheerful facade. One winter, a particularly harsh storm hit her town. The power went out, and the old house grew cold. Eleanor, trying to navigate in the dark, tripped over a rug and fell hard. A sharp, searing pain shot up her leg. She knew instantly that it was bad. She managed to crawl to her phone and call for an ambulance. Lying on the cold floor, waiting, the first people she wanted to call were her children. They would just worry, and their lives were already so busy. At the hospital, the diagnosis was a fractured hip. It required surgery and a long, difficult recovery. The doctor, a kind but direct woman, asked about her family support system. "My children live abroad," Eleanor said softly, the words feeling like a confession. For the first few weeks in the rehab facility, Eleanor felt completely and utterly alone. She eventually told her children what had happened, downplaying the severity of it. They were shocked and full of apologies. They promised to try and arrange a visit, but work was complicated. The kids had school. Flights were expensive. "We'll figure something out, Mom," they said. Eleanor knew they meant it, but she also knew the reality of their lives. A young volunteer at the facility, a university student named Maya, started visiting Eleanor's room. Maya, her name is. She would bring books from the library, read to Eleanor, or just sit and listen. Eleanor, starved for real connection, found herself opening up. Maya listened with genuine interest, asking questions and sharing stories of her own. She was studying social work, she said, and her own grandparents lived in another country. She understood the ache of distance. Maya's visits became the highlight of Eleanor's day. She worked harder in physical therapy, determined to get back on her feet. But something had shifted. The brief, rushed calls with her own children now stood in stark contrast to the unhurried, heartfelt conversations she had with Maya. As Eleanor recovered and was finally able to return home, Maya continued to visit. She helped with groceries, drove Eleanor to follow-up appointments, and sat with her in the garden, which was now beginning to bloom again. They became an unlikely pair, a friendship forged in a time of need, bridging a gap of 50 years. One day, Eleanor received a registered letter. It was from a lawyer. Her brother-in-law, Robert's estranged older brother, whom she hadn't seen in 30 years, had passed away. He had been a quiet, reclusive man, but apparently he had been a savvy investor, and in his will, he had left Eleanor a substantial inheritance. It was a shock, an amount of money she couldn't even comprehend. Her first thought was her children. She could finally ease their financial burdens. She could pay off their mortgages, fund her grandchildren's education. She called them, her voice trembling with the news. They were ecstatic, of course. Suddenly, their schedules cleared. They announced they were booking a flight for the following month. The inheritance had done what her broken hip could not. It brought them home. But as she hung up the phone, a strange feeling washed over Eleanor. It wasn't the pure joy she had expected. There was a quiet sadness, a realization that it took a fortune to make her a priority again. And the next time Maya visited, Eleanor told her everything. "What do you think I should do, Maya?" she asked. Her voice heavy, Maya sat quietly for a moment, then looked at Eleanor. "What do you want to do?" she asked gently. "For so long, you've done everything for everyone else. What does Eleanor want?" The question hung in the air. What did she want? She wanted to see her grandchildren, yes. But she didn't want to just be a bank account. She wanted to travel, something she and Robert had always dreamed of but never did. She wanted to take a cruise to Alaska. She wanted to see the cherry blossoms in Japan. She wanted to fund a small scholarship at the local library in Robert's name. She wanted to live. In that moment, Eleanor made a decision. She wasn't the forgotten mother anymore. She was a woman with a second chance. She set up trust funds for her grandchildren's education, ensuring their futures were secure. Just as she'd always wanted, she gave a generous portion to Michael and Sarah, enough to help them, but not enough to solve all their problems. The rest, she kept for herself. When her children arrived, it was different. They were attentive, of course, but Eleanor was different too. She was no longer just waiting by the phone. She was busy planning her trip to Alaska. She talked about her volunteer work, her friendship with Maya, her plans for the future. She was a woman with her own life again. Seeing their mother so vibrant and independent seemed to change something in Michael and Sarah. The conversations became deeper, more real. Perhaps they realized what they had almost lost. Not her money, but her. Eleanor's story doesn't have a perfect fairy tale ending. Her relationship with her children is still a work in progress, a bridge being rebuilt one conversation at a time. But it's a story of rediscovery. It shows us that a parent's love is a powerful, sacrificial force. But it also reminds us that parents are people too, with their own lives waiting to be lived. This story is a powerful reminder to all of us. If you have parents, especially ones who live far away, give them a call, not a text, but a real call. Ask them how they are, and really listen to the answer. And for all the parents out there who might be feeling a bit lonely, know that it's never too late to plant new seeds in your own garden, to find new friendships, and to rediscover your own dreams. Your life is still your own beautiful story, waiting for the next chapter. Thank you so much for listening today. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below. We love hearing from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that makes you think and feel. Until next time, take care.